Hello class, today I will be teaching about the topic lab test used in CSF analysis. Okay, so this topic is for BSc second year from subject pathology. So let us see what is CSF first. Okay, CSF we know that it is a full form for cerebrospinal fluid. Okay, so this is normally it is a clear watery fluid. It is being produced by the choroid plexus which is present inside the brain. Okay, and it circulates in the brain and the spinal cord. So this fluid, it is being produced by the choroid plexus. Okay, and the color of it is clear watery fluid, and it is it is present in the brain and the spinal cord. So that is the CSF. Now the composition of normal CSF. So a normal human being will have the values of CSF are as follows. First, protein. The normal range is 15 to 45 mg per dl. Glucose 50 to 80 mg per dl. The urea value is 6.0 to 16 mg per dl. Uric acid 0.5 to 3.0 mg per dl. Creatinine 0.6 to 1.2. Cholesterol 0.2 to 0.6. Ammonia 10 to 35 microgram per dl. So these are the composition of a normal CSF, of a normal human being. Okay. Next, composition of normal CSF like sodium 135 to 150, potassium 2.6 to 3.0, fluoride 115 to 130, magnesium 2.4 to 3.0, and cells 0 to 5 lim per microliter. So these are the values, okay, the normal values. Next, characteristics of normal CSF. Color. The color is watery clear or colorless. pH of CSF is 7.28 to 7.32. Appearance, it is clear. Specific gravity 1.003 to 1.004. There is no crust formation on standing. Total solids 0.85 to 1.70 gram per dl, and partial pressure of oxygen 40 to 44 mg per mercury. Okay, so these are the normal values of a normal CSF. Next, what are the identification or indication of CSF, or when do we do lab tests of CSF? In which condition? Okay, so based on these four conditions, then we can do the CSF test. First is the high sensitivity, high specificity, like patients suffering from bacterial meningitis or tuberculosis and fungal meningitis. Next, high sensitivity, moderate specificity. Disease conditions like viral meningitis, subarachnoid hemorrhage, CNS syphilis, central nervous system syphilis, and abscess or pus collection in the central nervous system. So in such conditions also we will do the CSF test. Next condition is moderate sensitivity, high specificity. Meningeal malignancy, if there is any tumors in the meninges. Next, moderate sensitivity, moderate specificity. Conditions like intracranial hemorrhage or viral encephalitis or subdural hematoma. So in such conditions, these conditions, we will we will conduct the CSF test. So to conduct the CSF test, how do we conduct the CSF test? Is by an important procedure. You all must know about this. Okay, that is called the lumbar puncture. Lumbar puncture is also called as the spinal tap. It is a procedure where the sample of CSF is taken for examination. So this lumbar puncture, in lumbar puncture procedure, the CSF is collected between L3 and L4. Okay, between L3 and L4, a spinal needle, okay, a cerebral spinal needle, you can see here. This is being inserted between L3 and L4, and the CSF is connected. Okay, it is withdrawn. So you can see here, this is a spinal process. This is the needle, spinal needle. Okay, this the location where we insert the spinal needle is between L3 and L4. Okay. and this procedure has been performed by Quincke in 1891. Okay, it was the first time that this procedure has been carried out. Okay, so in CSF there are two examinations. One is microscopic and one is macroscopic. Microscopic comes from the word microscope. So you will check you will count the number of cells. Okay, so here the cell counts total, okay, leukocyte and the RBCs. Also you will check the differential and the cytology. So these are some of the microscopic examinations. Now the values, okay, the reference intervals for CSF. Lymphocytes, in adults it is 62%, normal, neonates it is 20%. Monocytes, normal value in adults 36, neonates is 72%. Neutrophils in adults it is 2, neonates it is 3. Histiocytes, rare in adults, neonates it is 5. Ependymal, it is rare in adults, it is rare in neonates. And eosinophils also, they are rare in both adults and neonates. So this is the value or the reference interval for CSF in case a patient has performed microscopic examination of CSF. So in case there is increased neutrophils in CSF, so these are some of the disease conditions. Okay, if as a lab investigator we find out that there is increased neutrophils in CSF, then we can can predict that the patient may have some of these disease conditions. That is meningitis, can be bacterial or early tuberculosis or fungal meningitis. Then other infections, falling seizures, after CNS hemorrhage, after CNS infarction, reaction to repeated lumbar puncture. Because of repeated lumbar puncture also, the neutrophils can be increased. Foreign materials are present in the brain and metastatic tumor. Then if the lymphocytes are increased, then we should predict that the patient may have meningitis, viral meningitis, aseptic L monocytogenes, parasitic infection, degenerative disorder like encephalopathy due to drugs or Guillain-Barré syndrome. Other inflammatory conditions like sarcoidosis, polyneuritis, polyarteritis, inflammation of the arteries, and involving the CNS. So these are some of the disease conditions. Next, so CSF can be, for microscopic examination, we will collect the CSF in tubes. Okay, so there will be 3 tubes. One is tube 1 is chemistry, tube 2 is hematology, and tube 3 is microbiology. So next is the microscopic examination. In microscopic, we will check for the color of CSF, okay, whether it is cloudy, okay, whether it is turbid, there is any blood present in the CSF, or it is clotted, or is there any web formation. The normal CSF is clear, watery, and colorless. The clarity of fluid is of little clinical use except to provide an immediate indication of abnormality of CSF. A very important useful point to remember is that a large number of cells can be present without affecting the clarity. So if there's too many of lymphocytes or neutrophils, then they can be present even if this color of CSF is normal. So this is the appearance or the color that we will be able to see to detect if there's any problem in the CNS. One is the blood mixed, okay, mixture of the fluid is mixed with the blood. Then second is xanthochromic, then thick viscous or clot or cobweb formation. So let us see for the first, traumatic tap or CNS hemorrhage. Okay, so here in this condition, if there's any hemorrhage or there's bleeding in the CNS, what happens is this color of CSF is pink red, okay, which indicates that there is presence of blood. Then approximately 20% of the lumbar punctures result in bloody specimen, approximately 20%. then it is extremely important to identify the source of the blood. So if the color of CSF is pink red, then it is our responsibility to detect where the hemorrhage or where the bleeding is taking place. Next, xanthochromia. Xanthochromia means that the color of CSF is yellow, pale yellow. Okay, so subarachnoid and intracerebral hemorrhage. Okay, if this color comes out like this of CSF, then we should suspect for subarachnoid or intracerebral hemorrhage, traumatic tap, jaundice, elevated protein level more than 150 mg/dl, premature infants with immature blood CSF barrier, and bilirubin is high. Then we should suspect for hypercarotenemia and meningeal malignant melanoma, or if there's any tumors in the meninges. So this is for xanthochromia. Okay, if the color of CSF is like this, yellow. So you can see this is the normal CSF, clear colorless fluid, whereas in case of xanthochromia, then this is the color. Next is the thick viscous CSF. Okay, if the viscous is very thick, or if the cerebral spinal fluid is very thick and it is not flowy, it is it's like glycerine thick. Okay, then we should suspect for severe meningitis, cryptococcal meningitis, or metastatic mucinous adenocarcinoma. Next, if there's any clot formation of cobweb, okay, then we should suspect for increased proteins of more than 150 mg, tuberculous meningitis, or any spinal block. Okay, so that is based on the appearance of CSF. Okay, blood mixed, xanthochroma, thick viscous, and cobweb or clot web. So this is this is a column where you will see the test. Okay, normal CSF. Okay, appearance. You will see the pressure, WBC count, protein, glucose level, and chloride. So here this is the normal CSF. Okay, of a normal person. So appearance is clear. 90 to 180 is the pressure. 0 to 8 limb is the WBC count. 15 to 45 is protein level. 50 to 80 is glucose. 115 to 130. Okay, let us see first with the first disease condition. For example, a patient is having acute bacterial meningitis. Okay, then the appearance of CSF is turbid. Pressure will be increased. WBC 1000 to 10,000. Lymph, then proteins 100 to 500. Glucose less than 40, and chloride is decreased. Viral meningitis, clear appearance. Pressure normal to moderate or increased. WBC count 5 to 300, rarely more than 1000. Protein normal to mild, increased. Glucose normal, chloride normal. Tubercular meningitis because of tuberculosis. Then appearance, cobweb formation. Okay, pressure increased or decreased. Spinal block. WBC count 100 to 600, protein 50 to 300, glucose and chloride is decreased. Fungal meningitis because of fungi. Appearance is clear, pressure is increased, WBC 40 to 400 or mixed, protein 50 to 300, glucose is decreased, and chloride is decreased. And in case of a patient with acute syphilitic, syphilis, then appearance is clear, pressure is increased, WBC about 500 limb, protein increased but less than 100, glucose and chloride are normal. So if we have performed the CSF test, okay, and we have to analyze, and these are the results, then we can guess what the patient is suffering from. Okay, so this is about CSF analysis or the lab test for CSF. So I hope this is clear. Thank you, class.